This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros took 2 out of 3 from the Athletics at home this past weekend, including a 13-2 win on Saturday to improve their record to 30-37. Next up is a road series against the Angels. Game 1 is tonight, and first pitch from Angel Stadium is scheduled for 8:38, and you can listen to the action on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. In the NBA playoffs, the New York Knicks took a 2-0 lead in the finals with a 105-104 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the series moves to New York with Game 3 being tonight. Tip-off from Madison Square Garden is set for 7:30. LSU's Michaela Williams and Mylasia Fuwiley helped Team USA win gold in the 2026 FIBA 3x3 Half-Court Women's Basketball World Cup. Williams also took home MVP in the tournament. LSU football also landed a 5-star edge rusher in KJ Green, who is the number 8 overall player in the 2027 class. Super Regional Weekend will continue tonight. West Virginia, Troy, UNC, Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia all moved on this weekend. We're still awaiting a winner in the Lawrence and Tuscaloosa Super Regional. And on the PGA Tour, JT Paulson got past Ryan Gerard in a playoff to win the Memorial Tournament in Dublin, Ohio. I'm James Mesh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown. ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette, 104.1 in Lake Charles. Anywhere you are with the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, and of course live streaming it every single day for free on our YouTube channel, ESPN_SWLA is how you can find the channel. Good afternoon. Welcome into another full week of the LohDown here as the summer months have arrived. Of course, not officially summer until the summer solstice, June the 22nd, but it feels like summer. It's certainly hot enough to be the summer. I've said it before. I think we could condense these months. We could do the seasons by month instead of by special weather-related events like solstices and equinoxes. I think we just go, to me at least, June, July, August. That's the summer. That's what I think of as the summer. Then you go September, October, November. That's the fall. December, January, February. That's the winter. And March, April, May. That's the spring. Does anybody oppose that? I don't know. Maybe James says thumbs up, so I think that's good. So for me, it's the summer, basically, right? Which means we're going to start getting into some more summer-based ideas. We kind of open up our brains. We go outside. We color outside the lines a little bit on the show here. I've got some new segments, one of which that's been 2 years in the making. I mean, I pitched this idea to James so long ago. We got the imaging made for it, and it just never happened last year. It's going to happen this summer, okay? Now, I say all that with the caveat. Right now, we still do have college baseball, which for me is one of my favorite sports, right? So I'm going to talk a lot about the Super Regionals, Omaha, the College World Series, and we got the NBA Finals, which are heating up. Obviously, I mean, the Knicks, though, think about how crazy is that? The Knicks can put basically a stranglehold on this series tonight, and that could effectively speed up our timelines of the offseason, although I do still think maybe the Spurs are going to have something to say about that. We'll talk about that as the show goes on today. We've got one guest here, and that's Jay Walker. I thought about kind of giving Jay a few weeks off, and I said, you know what? There's more meat on this bone. I want to go one more time with Jay. I want to kind of do a year in review. We'll talk Cajuns athletics. We'll bounce around to all the different sports. Like, there was a stretch in time where, and Kevin wrote a piece about it, like where it started to feel like one of the worst seasons in UL athletics history with all the like different struggles that were going on. By the end of it, though, it felt like such a breath of fresh air. What Cajuns baseball did to finish the year, send us to the summer months, and then the return announcements, all that stuff, it really changed the perspective. And it's just, a reminder how you can't be a prisoner of the moment always, right? But anyway, so there's a lot of stuff I still want to talk about with Jay. So I figure we'll have him on one more time. We'll have him today at 2:15 in his normal time slot. We'll give him a couple of weeks off after the fact, going into next week. And then we'll obviously, kind of return. The next time we really, really dive into it with Jay will probably be about the time that Sunbelt Media Days is getting set to go down over in New Orleans, which is going to be mid-July. By the way, programming note, Sunbelt Media Days, and we got an official announcement on this last week, even though we kind of knew beforehand because they had teased it on their basketball tournament broadcast. Sunbelt Media Days is going before SEC this year. As long as I've been covering the event, it's always been the week after SEC Media Days. It is the week before this time around. So we'll have that for you. We'll be, I'll be in New Orleans for that event. The 2 days, it's a Wednesday and a Thursday before SEC, and then we've got a ton of stuff planned. Excited to be ready to roll in Tampa after that. More on those events coming out in the near future. We'll tell you about our coverage and all that stuff, but that's down the road. This week on the show, just some housekeeping stuff. Full week of shows again. No Astros baseball interruptions. Not very many this entire summer, as I've mentioned before. There are no Astros-related interruptions for us in the entire month of July, so we'll have a lot of time to dive into some of these off-season topics that I have in mind. D-Loh's Details will be in full swing. Some of those new segments I talked about. It won't be that long before we're ready to start with Preview 32. I want to get on it a little earlier this year than last because we kind of got crammed at the end last season. Those of you who remember, that's our segment where we preview the season for every NFL team with someone who covers that team better than I do or knows more about them than I do, obviously. So we'll be getting that rolling. So it's just, I felt like today was kind of my official introduction to the summer. But at the same time, today's show is a little more normal than some of them are going to be because there's a few things I really want to dive into that are current events and not like big picture stuff. Obviously, like this summer, I kind of use sometimes to do some more historical stuff, some just fun workshop ideas, things of that nature. But today's not necessarily that day because there's still a lot. Omaha, the field is just about set. We got one more spot on the line. It sure looks like it's going to Oklahoma. They're trying to close out Kansas right now. Those games, there actually weren't any Game 3s forced for today, which was a little of a bummer. There were just a couple of resumptions of suspended games. Alabama already got it done this morning, so they're headed there. We've got some College World Series for you a little bit later on today. But we're going to start the show by getting locked in and going all the way back to Friday, talking a little NBA Finals. Let's do it.
D-Loh is the kind of guy that stays locked in. On what? Well, that depends on the night. But you can guarantee there was some sporting event that he found interesting. It's time to find out what D-Loh was locked in on the LohDown.
So Friday night, we are back in San Antonio, right? It's the Frostbank Center. Game number 2, NBA Finals. What is this going to look like? I said on the show on Friday, fairly confidently, I said, you know what? I still think San Antonio is a better basketball team. I still think San Antonio wins tonight, evens up this series, and we go to Madison Square Garden with everything up for grabs. And naturally, that is not what happened. Once again, James, we got so close again to my wish of having a game end in the 90s for both teams. Like 105, 104, we're right there. Could it be tonight? Could tonight be the night? We'll see. But ultimately, I continue to just give, I think I've done a nice job of giving the Knicks, I should say, credit every step of the way here. Another thing I didn't think the Knicks could do is if things get ugly and it's mucky and Wembanyama has the ball late and like you've got to try and make some stops. I didn't think the Knicks were going to be able to come up with this many clutch defensive stops. And yet again, Game 2 was another example of this Knicks team proving me wrong. So I continue to give them credit for that. Another night, and this one even more so than Game 1, Jalen Brunson was not spectacular. He had 20 points in this game. He shot 7 of 25. He was 2 of 8 from 3. Last series, right, when the Thunder and the Spurs played, I talked about how for really the first 6 games, it felt mostly like whoever does a better job against the opposition star wins the game. When SGA had slow nights, the Spurs won. When Wemby had slow nights, the Thunder won. The Knicks have already reverse that in this series. That has not been the case. Now, Brunson had 30 in game one. We already talked about some of the things that led to that, and he battled through the injury and all that other stuff. He was not special in game two by his own standards, and yet the Knicks are still in it late. Yes, there were some inexplicable turnovers committed by the Spurs in this basketball game. Not just the one where the game was on the line and Wemby collects a rebound, looks up court, and there's just that half second where he and his teammate aren't on the same page and he tosses it off the back of, what was that, Harrison Barnes? Or was it Fox? I forget. Either way, you know the play I'm talking about. Wemby grabs the rebound inside of 30 seconds left, looks up court, tosses a pass off the back of his teammate. Knicks steal it, and they go back the other way. They get free throws, and they end up going up by one. Still, James.
It bounced off of Castle's back, and Jalen Brunson got it.
Not Fox or Barnes, but Stephon Castle. You're correct. And still, after all that, the Spurs get the basketball back, down one, chance to win this thing, even the series up. And I'll tell you what, I know, and James, we were texting a little bit back and forth after this, and he gave his thoughts on it. I love the look from Wembanyama. I mean, I know, so James is shaking his head. He doesn't. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later on today. I love the look. I think, look, when you get your 7'5" guy, a clean shot, I know he's fading, but it's a decent look, and he misses the shot. Simple as that. He missed the shot. I do understand, and I imagine maybe, we'll get into it further, but maybe James's thought is maybe you got to get going to the basket, get that frame involved, see if the officials give you a call. Regardless, the Knicks are now up 2-0 going back home. We saw all the chaos that was the Knicks fans making the trip, traveling, the watch parties in MSG. I got a buddy who actually lives in the New York area, so I was looking at, he was at one of those watch parties. It looked insane. I mean, they kept showing, obviously they showed a lot of clips of that on the broadcast as well. But on a night where Wemby shoots better from the floor, scores 29 points, De'Aaron Fox was actually really efficient and gave them some on offense as well. I said the peripheral players had to be better for San Antonio, and they were for the most part. Okay, Champagnie had 8. You can't ask Champagnie to score 20 points a game in this series. This is, I think, way, way, way more concerning than the game one loss is what happened in game two for San Antonio. Because I thought if you get a night like you got from the peripheral players and what Wembanyama did, I thought they'd have won that game, and they just didn't. And they limit Brunson on the other side. Mikal Bridges was awesome as a peripheral player. Or I shouldn't say a peripheral player. As a secondary option. Towns was good again. Karl Anthony Towns has had a great series so far. I got to give him a lot of credit here. But I'd have thought they'd have won this basketball game. They simply did not. And so now the Knicks go up 2-0. You flip that into what Game 3 is going to look like tonight. New York going back home. We know this building is going to be absolutely bonkers. One of the things I can't wait, I talked about the ABC broadcast presentation of the finals, how I thought they've done a nice job. It's felt more like the finals than the last couple of seasons. I can't wait to turn this game on before tip-off time and get some of that pregame and just see what the energy in this build. Obviously, you can only feel so much of it through a television broadcast, but I can't wait to just see and try to an extent to feel what that environment's going to be like, because it's special. And I don't think anybody, even if you like to hate on the Knicks, which some people do, I don't think you can really hate on what MSG provides. The price to get in, that's tough. You won't catch me trying to sneak into these games the next couple of days. You're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. But look, that's also, it's New York, right? There's going to be more celebrities. I imagine just bumping into the number of celebrities that are going to be in attendance, and a lot of them are going to have reasons to be there, right? I mean, Chalamet has made his presence known as a big-time supporter, and Stiller has been there. And I mean, it goes without saying, all the guys, all the Knicks fans who are super Knicks fans that have been at all these things, there's going to be so many other A and B list celebrities at this thing that you're going to get the camera on throughout the process. But the basketball atmosphere should also be really, really good. And the Knicks are actually 1.5 favorite tonight, last I checked. So they were underdogs in games 1 and 2. Now the home crowd shifts, right? And they're the slight favorites in this game. I just have a hard time believing, and I shouldn't. It's shame on me, right? I still just have a hard time believing the Spurs don't at least make a series of this thing, man. And we know, look, 3-0 has never happened in the NBA Finals, a comeback from that margin. We've only got a couple in the history of sports as a whole in 7-game series, right? Go back to Boston in 2004 in baseball, obviously over the Yankees. So you've got to get this one, and I just don't see a way in which the Spurs don't find a way to gut one out tonight. I do have audio as well from players, coaches, just a couple clips from each side that I'll share with you a little bit later on in the show. Want to go back and forth on this stuff, but it's been really, really fascinating for me to watch this Knicks team do what I did not think they could do, and we'll see if they continue that tonight. I picked the Spurs to win game 1. I picked the Spurs to win game 2. I'll pick the Spurs again to win game 3. You know what? It'll be a fool me 3 times, double, triple shame on me if I'm wrong tonight. I just have a hard time imagining San Antonio doesn't find a way to gut this one out, but they're going to have to face that atmosphere, that environment. I think going to OKC and doing what they did in Game 7 has prepared them for moments like this, but I also do think some of that fatigue stuff that we talked about has definitely played into it in the first 2 games. They got the double off day. They did not play Saturday or Sunday, right? They had a travel day and then an extra day off. I think that should be enough for them to get their legs about them and win this game tonight, but we'll have to wait and see. So we'll take a timeout. We got plenty more coming up from the LohDown after the break. I want to hear some of the sights and sounds of the Super Regionals, what teams booked their ticket to Omaha, what it sounded like. We'll also give you an update on the one game that is in progress. So we'll flip gears. We'll go college baseball after the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to a Monday edition of the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Delta Media Corp is hiring immediately for a media account executive. If you're looking for a new challenge with unlimited earning potential, we want to hear from you. Sales experience is preferred but not required. If you're interested, send an email to our general manager, John at Cochran. The email address is jcochran@deltamediacorp.com. Delta Media Corp is an equal opportunity employer.
Make sure to set your alarm and tune in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for Sports Shorts here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Join me, Ronnie Rance, and the Sports Shorts team of Tommy Christsan, Hunter McCann, and the crazy man, Joel Davis, as we break down the sports and teams that you love. The LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, and everything in between. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to noon for Sports Shorts here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563. Looking for the perfect place to play golf in the heart of Louisiana? Look no further than Farm D'Alley Golf Club in Carencro. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting started, we've got a course for you. With lush fairways, challenging holes, and spectacular views, our 18-hole course offers a top-tier experience for golfers of all skill levels. Book your tee time at farmdalleygolfclub.com today, and don't forget, weekend rates include free range balls to help you warm up before you hit the course. Get out to Farm D'Alley Golf Club in Carencro, Louisiana. Your next golfing adventure is just a click away. Visit farmdalleygolfclub.com to book your tee time now. See you on the greens.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
We are Lions International, the world's largest service organization. We are volunteers committed to strengthening our communities and supporting those in need, one act of kindness at a time. For more than a century, Lions have been serving a world in need, right here in our community and around the world. Lions International makes the impossible possible. This is your invitation to join us, because the only thing missing from our mission to make a difference is you. Visit lionsclubs.org to find a local Lions Club near you.
Back to the sports talk you not only want, but need. This is ESPN, 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The LohDown continues on here on a Monday. What a weekend for college baseball. I talked about it as heading into last weekend. For me personally, as I've said before, I actually enjoy the regional weekend, I think, a lot more than Supers. But there is also something really, really special about getting trips to Omaha booked. And you know what I like, too? Some of these bigger teams, and LSU's in this category as well, like that's been there, done that, right? Has been to Omaha a bunch of times. Sometimes the same group of players, for the most part, returns and goes back again. We don't see the big celebrations when they win a regional. And sometimes it's rarer, but we don't even see it when certain teams win a super. But just about every team this weekend, you saw the dog piles. You saw the excitement. You saw the guys sprinting in from the outfield. It didn't matter if you were the number 3 overall seed Georgia or if you were a team like Troy that clearly couldn't have expected to necessarily be in this moment. You see that joy. You see that emotion. That's why I think it's one of the sports that's slept on so much. College baseball is just that fun. As far as the series that I thought could have been the best, right? We talked about Mississippi State and Georgia. We said that's just got the potential to be an all-timer, and it absolutely delivered. Those two games. Now, I will say this. Look, Foley Field, a little bit of a launching pad, man. I know the wind blows out. The dimensions aren't particularly small, but it's just ridiculous. The balls that were flying out of there. Now, a lot of the ones Georgia and Mississippi State hit over the weekend were no doubters. I don't think the stadium impacted it. But that park, it's just got to be an absolute headache to try and pitch in. Mississippi State was up 7-0 on Georgia in the first game of this series. Georgia scored 9 unanswered runs. Then Mississippi State took the lead back twice. It's 12-10 going into the bottom half of the 8th when Georgia finally grabs it back. Then in the second game on Sunday, Georgia again just back and forth, the lead changing hands. Mississippi State scored in 4 different innings, got crooked numbers every time. Georgia scored in 8 different innings, getting single runs in 4 of the 8. But in the top half of the 10th, it was Daniel Jackson who made the difference. And I want to bring some of these calls to you since they are from our friends over at ESPN. We have the ability to play some of these back for you. This is what it sounded like on the broadcast. I want to get you the names as well, the broadcast teams that I thought did a tremendous job. Mike Monaco was on the call with Ben McDonald and Eduardo Perez. This is the sound of Daniel Jackson's go-ahead 10th inning homer in the clinching game that sent Georgia to Omaha.
Launched to left! Jackson! Goodbye!
Well, it's the time of the year when you want your stars to show up. And Daniel Jackson, in my opinion, is going to win the Golden Spikes Award. His 31st lone ball of the season.
Great call, by the way. Mike Monaco's awesome. One of the really rising stars in the industry, no doubt. And Ben McDonald, friend of the program there, chimed in as well. Georgia wins at 11-9 in 10 innings. So 13-12 and 11-9. A combined score of 24-20 across the 2 games. Mississippi State, unfortunately for them, runs into a buzzsaw and gets eliminated. Elsewhere, some other really, really good ones. UNC and USC. This was another series that I said I thought had the potential to be epic, and it was. We go the distance. This is the only series, I believe, that went all 3 into a winner-take-all game. USC comes back after trailing early on Friday night. They score 8 runs in the 6th and 7th innings combined after a 5-1 deficit. They win 9-5 to force game 2. North Carolina wins 4-0, shutout performance. Jason DeCaro, who you might remember on that Omaha team that beat LSU in the Supers or in the regional a few years back, he's all grown up now. He was awesome in that game. Just 2 hits for USC, so the Tar Heels get themselves in position to force a winner-take-all game 3, and this one was back and forth. USC with a 3-1 lead after 5 innings. They'd take that lead all the way into the 8th. Carolina shaves a run off of it, makes it 3-2. But then they were not done in the 9th. They would not die. They hit a sac fly to tie it. And then this is how it sounded when North Carolina ultimately took the lead, which was obviously a walk-off win for them as the home team. Mike Farron and Gabby Sanchez were on the call. Here's how it sounded.
2-1 the count. Winning run at second, bottom 9. The pitch. Hall swings and drives one deep to center field. Takeuchi going back, and he can't get there. North Carolina is going back to Omaha.
You hear that, too. You hear the stadium reactions. You hear the announcer reactions. And, again, these are teams that expect to be there. Georgia expected to go to Omaha with the team they had going into this postseason. North Carolina expects to go to Omaha a lot of years, right? And you still hear that emotion. Now, of course, it helped that these were 2 all-time instant classic games. And Takeuchi in center for USC, I know he's probably got to have a rough Monday right now. Definitely looked like he had more space than he thought he did. I hear a lot of people faulting the effort level. I don't think it's about effort level. I think it's a misjudgment of the play. I think he thinks he's about to he goes into a sliding position, and if you saw the play, you know what I'm talking about. And I think he thought he was right on the wall. And by the way, you always wonder, games like this, if that's played in his home ballpark at USC, does he have a better shot to make the catch? Probably so, because you're just a little more comfortable. You just know the wall. You just know the patterns. You know what that warning track looks like. You know how much space you have. When you're in a different ballpark, yeah, even if you've been there a whole weekend, it's just tough. And so Takeuchi couldn't make the play. UNC walks it off. They defeat USC. They're going back to Omaha. They've got a really good shot on that left side of the bracket as well, by the way, which we'll go over once we set things up. And then, last but not least, we talked to our friend Barry McKnight last week. I do probably want to talk with Troy, someone from that program again. They get Little Rock, and I really thought this was going to go the distance. I thought this was going to go to Game 3, but Troy was all over him on the first day. Jabe Boroff, the guy who had 12 hits the entire regular season and then had 10 in the regional, he did it again, hitting 2 homers, including a grand slam, 6 RBIs. Are you serious? A legend that can't get any bigger. Jabe Boroff goes 2 for 4, hits 2 homers, and drives in 6. The guy who, as I mentioned, I need to say this again, had 12 hits the entire regular season. Then on Saturday, they closed it out. They did not need that final game. It was tight throughout. We went into the top half of the 9th with it being a 5-2 lead. Still thought there was room for Little Rock to mount something special. But ultimately, Troy had it on a couple of insurance runs, and they were able to close things down in the bottom half. So the Troy Trojans headed to Omaha for the first time ever. Here's how it sounded when they closed it down. Clay Matvick and Lance Cormier had the call on ESPN.
Ground ball, could do it. To second for 1. To first, double play. Look out, Omaha, here comes Troy. And for the first time, the Trojans of Troy are going to Omaha and the Men's College World Series.
The Trojans lost 30 games in the regular season. They played a murderer's row of regular season non-conference matchups that gave them the resume that just got them barely in the field of 64. And by the way, a lot of times maybe you'll say the Cal Poly path where they didn't see the host UCLA, right, because of UCLA's faults with other teams. So you might go, wow, and then Cal Poly got rocked by West Virginia. Troy went through Gainesville and had to play Florida twice. They had to beat them twice in a do-or-die situation. So there's nothing fluky about this trip for Troy. Now, does it help them out a little bit that they went through Little Rock and not Southern Miss, although that was a conference opponent? They'd have had a shot there as well. Just an unbelievable job by Skylar Meade and the Troy Trojans. They win at 7-2. They will go to Omaha for the first time ever. We also now have games set on Friday night. This is the left side of the Omaha bracket. Troy will face West Virginia. That is 2 first-timers, first time ever getting there. The 16-seeded Mountaineers cruised past Cal Poly this weekend. That is your 1 o'clock game on Friday afternoon in Omaha. That one will be getting going right as our show is being talked about on Friday, so that'll be fun to keep track of. Then the nightcap, North Carolina. We already told you about their experience getting past USC. They've got Ole Miss, who just stomped Auburn. I mean, that was a stunner there as well, going on the road. The Rebels are back in the College World Series yet again with Mike Bianco. That one is at 6 o'clock. The right side of the bracket, not quite set, but we're getting close. Georgia and Texas will play the nightcap. We already know that. That is the 3 versus 6 matchup. That is what feels like the crown jewel of first-round games at the CWS. Texas got it done against Oregon late last night. We already told you what Georgia did to get past Mississippi State. The first game on Saturday is going to be at 2 o'clock. It is going to be the Alabama Crimson Tide back in Omaha for the first time since '99. They cruised past St. John's. They had to finish their game this morning that had started yesterday. They closed it out winning 7-2. And Oklahoma will be getting there if they can close the door on Kansas. The 15-seeded Jayhawks are down 12-1 heading in the top half of the 8th. Oklahoma already got them in game 1. That was another one that had to be pushed back due to weather. So the SEC does look like they're going to get a record 5 teams in the College World Series field because Oklahoma is likely to finish off Kansas. That would mean the 2 o'clock game on Saturday afternoon is unseeded Oklahoma against 7th-seeded Alabama. So seeding-wise, interesting to note, right? We will have the 3 seed, the 5 seed, the 6 seed, and the 7 seed in Omaha. Then we'll have the 16 West Virginia. We'll have unseeded teams that went on the road and won regionals in ballparks that aren't their own and then did it again in the Supers. Troy, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma we expect to clinch that final spot. So that is your College World Series update. Let's take another time out here on the show. When we return, I've got some audio for you. Let's go back into the NBA Finals a little bit. I do want to get James's thought on the Wembanyama shot in the end of Game 2. Then I've got a couple of clips for you to play. We got one from Wembanyama. We've got one from De'Aaron Fox. We got one from each head coach. So we'll do that to continue to kind of lead up to Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That's coming up after the break. You're listening to The LohDown.
This is The LohDown with D-Loh. Live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Small Sliders of Lafayette has 2 convenient locations. One's on Ambassador Caffrey. The other is on Bertrand Drive across from Our Lady of Lourdes Stadium. I've been telling you about them for a while now, and man, it's just one of those things that hits the spot. You know, there's certain places you might go where it's here and there. It's like sometimes you go, yeah, that was a really good decision. And others you're like, man, that just didn't hit the way it's supposed to. Smalls, for me, just doesn't ever miss, right? And it's back to the consistency we talk about. We've had our friend Steve, who runs those 2 places over here before. The commitment to quality, the commitment to speed as well. They're efficient with it all. It's just a place you can really rely on. The prices are not going to, empty out your wallet. It's affordable, it's reasonable, and it's just really, really good food. Whether it's their cheeseburger sliders, whether it's their waffle cut fries with the batter on them, they've got the small sauce, they've got the queso to bring it all together, and the milkshakes looking to cool down here in the summer months. They've got that as well. So go ahead, try them out. If you haven't already, you're really missing out. Tell them D-Loh sent you. It does mean a lot if you mention that you heard about them here on the radio station, and you'll have a great time, no doubt about it. That's Small Sliders of Lafayette.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros took 2 out of 3 from the Athletics at home this past weekend, including a 13-2 win on Saturday to improve their record to 30-37. Next up is a road series against the Angels. Game 1 is tonight, and first pitch from Angel Stadium is scheduled for 8:38, and you can listen to the action on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. In the NBA playoffs, the New York Knicks took a 2-0 lead in the finals with a 105-104 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the series moves to New York with Game 3 being tonight. Tip-off from Madison Square Garden is set for 7:30. LSU's Michaela Williams and Mylasia Fuwiley helped Team USA win gold in the 2026 FIBA 3v3 Half-Court Women's Basketball World Cup. Williams also took home MVP in the tournament. LSU football also landed a 5-star edge rusher in KJ Green, who is the number 8 overall player in the 2027 class. Super Regional Weekend will continue tonight. West Virginia, Troy, UNC, Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia all moved on this weekend. We're still awaiting a winner in the Lawrence and Tuscaloosa Super Regional. And on the PGA Tour, JT Paulson got past Ryan Gerard in a playoff to win the Memorial Tournament in Dublin, Ohio. I'm James Mesh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero-Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 Northwest Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag Zero-Turn Lawnmowers.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one #1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices. To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the LHSAA, are the 110,000 high school sports students in Louisiana. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, soccer, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, broadcasting live from the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Back to more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, we return here to the LohDown. We've been doing NBA Finals and College World Series, bouncing back and forth between the two. They're the two, biggest things. Of course, hey, Stanley Cup going on as well. I look forward to potentially getting invested in that series at some point, but it just hasn't happened yet. And I do it every year. I know and I've had people be like, man, talk more hockey on the show. I just don't know what I could give you. I don't know if the analysis is going to match up with what I would want it to be like. So that's why we haven't dove into it yet. I am excited. By the way, World Cup week is here as well. We're going to talk soccer on the show. It'll be the only time we do, unless we're doing this 4 years from now at the next World Cup. But we will be talking soccer. We will be giving my best effort, much like in the Olympics where I was like, hey, I'm going to pick a random sport and I'm going to try and educate myself, entertain myself on it. So we'll do that later. By the way, back to the NBA Finals tonight. Look, Trump's going to the game tonight, so it sounds like I'm very glad I don't live in the New York area for a day like today. Not because, it would be awesome to be down there and feel the atmosphere and the vibes, but apparently, there's limits on what if you can walk around in Manhattan and downtown and stuff because of all the extra presence of, security and Secret Service and all that stuff. It's going to be insanity. I imagine it's still going to be, I don't think it's going to impact the game environment atmosphere. I think it's still going to be awesome, but it will be interesting to see just how, I know people wanted to have a lot of those watch parties around the arena and they had to cancel a lot of those because of it. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what that all looks like. James says he's not a fan of the Wembanyama shot to end game 2. What did you want to see there, James? Let's get back to that for a minute.
Okay, so going back to that shot, there was 7.5 seconds left. They're inbounding it from the right side.
Mm-hmm.
They get it to Fox, which is fine. I mean, Fox, I liked his attitude. I liked his intent in game 2 compared to what we'd seen in a lot of the rest of the really playoffs in general from him. So I didn't mind him getting it. And what they did was they set up a screen. He went left, went back right for a second, then went back left, gets the screen from Wembanyama, and Wembanyama flares out. So it really wasn't all that effective of a screen anyway, because whoever was guarding, I think it was Josh Hart guarding Fox, didn't really do much there. And then Fox immediately dishes it to Wembanyama, and he steps into a deep 2, which if you've known me long enough, I can't stand the deep 2
It wasn't
shot.
super. I would call it more of a mid-range than a deep 2.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was a deep 2.
But he also, like, deep 2s for him, I mean, he's halfway there when he releases it.
But look, if it was a legit mid-range, I'd be more okay with it, but it was a deep 2.
So you wanted him attacking the basket?
Yes, I wanted them to get him closer to the basket one way or another, where he was there already and someone else kind of set a screen on Mitchell Robinson. But even then, it was a deep 2 where he's already not the greatest at those types of shots. It's kind of in that weird in between. And then Mitchell Robinson was already guarding him and had a great contest on the shot anyway. So it wasn't even like an open look when I looked at it again. Like, he was smothered. And then not only that, but if you were going to get Wembanyama, which I already was like kind of iffy on, because remember, what set that up was he had the turnover, threw it off of Castle's back, and Jalen Brunson got it, and then he fouled Brunson, and then Brunson made 1 out of 2, giving them the 1-point lead, because going into that, it was 104-104.
Yes, it was.
So my thought is, he's probably already not even in the right mindset, in the headspace, because he just turned the ball over when there was no reason for him to even pass the ball to anybody. Like, he could have easily just taken up the court himself, and then they just find a shot from there. So didn't love it of getting him the ball at that moment after he just had a dumb turnover, and he just put his hands in his face, and then was just kind of moping around like, I can't believe I just did that. So he's already not necessarily in the right headspace, and then you give him a shot that he's not necessarily the greatest at, with Mitchell Robinson smothering him. And if you were going to get him the ball and not just have Fox find a shot, then get him closer to the basket one way or another.
I don't hate your logic there. I still think I don't have a problem getting the ball in the hands of your best player, who also just has such a weird, unique skill set that, like, there's so many things that can go right. I do agree he probably needs to be moving towards the basket to just have the chance of drawing contact, drawing a foul call. You know, obviously the shot percentage is going to go up the closer you are as well, but I think he didn't want to get into that painted area and have a ton of traffic.
But also with that, he didn't even get a chance to set up the shot himself. It was just, he sets the screen, Fox dishes it to him, and he immediately steps into it and is like, oh, I got to go up now because I got a second and a half. There's no dribble move to set himself up into, like, right at the free throw line to maybe create some space there. It's like, no, they just get him the ball, he takes it, and then just as a catch and shoot. And
I
it's
think
like,
part of that too, though, is probably they only have 7 seconds. They know that they're going to be denied on the entry pass to him right off the inbound, so they're trying to get it to Fox to just kind of take some pressure away. I mean, but look, they're in that situation because they screwed up the play before, as you mentioned already. All right, speaking of Wembanyama, he spoke to the media. Sometimes he says a lot of nothing. But he doesn't seem super rattled, at least by his answers. He was asked about the adjustments, game 3, what he's learned from the first 2, and he just kind of said he's just got to not overthink things.
I think the key is acceptance a lot of times, and taking a step back, realizing the journey that's behind us and what's ahead of us, and just being okay with who I am, where I am, what I'm doing. I think the end of the day, this is everything that I wish for, so there's no reason to really overthink it or I mean, this is what I'm built for.
We will see just how built for it he is tonight in the Garden with all that atmosphere. And speaking of which, his teammate De'Aaron Fox, who was better in Game 2, they likely need another nice night from Fox in Game 3. He discusses, look, ironically enough, one of the more veteran players on this roster as a whole, despite not having a ton of playoff experience in his previous stops. Fox on the atmosphere he's expecting in MSG tonight.
You're in New York, even when they travel, you hear New York fans. So, I mean, when we came here during the regular season, they hit it. Well, we hit them first. They hit us back in the mouth, and then we just kind of weren't able to get our wheels turning again. But I think we've been pretty good on the road throughout the playoffs, and obviously this team has been really good at home as well. So we got to try to come out and, obviously easier said than done, but try to take the crowd out of it as quickly as possible. I think even like our Game 7. We never really let the crowd get into the game, and like I said, obviously easier said than done. But just try to negate some of their runs. I mean, you're gonna come in here. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna, don't want to use the word hostile, but it's gonna be hostile. So you just try to not let the crowd get on their toes too much, because obviously this team plays, and usually it's more so role players and star players that play better at home.
He's right about a couple different things there. For one, I think the Game 7 experience for them is valuable. Not letting the OKC crowd ever have that moment where they were feeling it, And that's like, I go back to these college baseball atmospheres we've been in. Like when the team starts to feel it. Now in baseball, it's almost harder because there are some negative things I think that can happen when you start to feel it like that. Because if you get out of yourself, there's still a pitcher on the mound who's got to throw strikes and get you outs down the stretch. In basketball, I think you're still able to kind of play your game at times. But the other thing is, like, they got to treat this like it's Game 7 at OKC, because going down 3-0, right? It's history tells us it's as good as gone. Like, it's over. So it's a must-win game. As much as that is a cliche, you can use it in a game like tonight. Mitch Johnson, I don't know if I loved what he had to say here, the head coach of the Spurs. He was asked about kind of Game 3, the game plan, how things would look a little different, what that would look like. This is what Mitch Johnson said ahead of Game 3.
Same routine as we've had throughout the playoffs. You dig into the film, you argue, you beat yourself up, you give each other feedback, figure out how to help the guys for the next game. Have not got out and gone on a walk yet, so here's the answer for that. But just trying to improve on things that we know that we have to be better at, and settle into the series and try to continue to get better.
It's hard to be super critical of a coach that has a team that we thought in general was way ahead of schedule and just pulled off an unbelievable series upset in the series prior. So I'm not going to, but they've got to find ways to attack the weaknesses of the Knicks defensively a little bit better. And look, part of that's maybe Towns and Brunson have just been better than they defensively, because the intensity's up and the effort's a little bit higher than it is throughout the regular season. But I mean, they got to go at Brunson a little more too, I think. That's got to be a factor tonight. Lastly, let's flip it over, get something from the Knicks' perspective, because they are the team that has been shining so far in this series. And look, there's a lot of players on this Knicks roster, as I've said before, that I think just really contribute to winning basketball. I would love to have a Josh Hart on every basketball team I ever rooted for or watched play. Same with Jose Alvarado. Those guys are just fun. Now, I think Hart's role obviously is much bigger. He didn't score in Game 2, and yet again, he was an impact maker. I mean, it's just so funny to see the stat lines for him, but I respect the hell out of it. And Mike Brown said as much, talking about who the X factor has been on this Knicks team so far. This is what the Knicks coach had to say.
Every team that I've been a part of that has gone to the finals, and especially that has won it, has an X factor or a wild card, and that's somebody that plays off of their emotions, but it's usually at one speed. And most of the times you love it, and sometimes you may pull your hair out of your head if you haven't. And that person was Josh. Back in San Antonio, it was Steven Jackson. In Golden State, it was Draymond Green. Here it's Josh. All those guys, they can change a game to the nth degree, just with their passion, their emotion, however you want to call it. And sometimes they may make you want to pull your hair out your head, like I said.
And I just think back to some of the teams that I've watched win titles, like how big Caruso has been on some of the team. Like Caruso's just such an X factor in these regards, and Josh Hart's doing some of that same stuff. Like if the Spurs do come back and make a series of this, then you can make an argument for the Vassell's and the Castles of the world as well. But just Hart's that fun to watch, man. I love it. I love the energy and the intensity. As I said the other day, I don't think there's a better 6'5" rebounder on the planet than Josh Hart because he just cares more. He just treats every basketball like it's his. He knows he's not an elite scorer. He knows he's not an elite player in all aspects of his game, but he's elite in effort and he's elite in intangibles. And so we'll see if that comes into play yet again as the Knicks return home for Game 3 tonight. All right, we got to wrap up Hour 1 on the other side of the break. We haven't introduced you to the poll question, although we have talked about it. It's NBA Finals related. So we'll do that after this timeout. We'll kind of close things down a little bit, and we'll set you up for the second hour. Still to come, by the way, in hour number 2. I did get a chance to swing over to Trey Harris's camp over the weekend at Como High. It was really cool to get to interact with Trey a little bit, watch him handle it with the kids. Trey's awesome, and Trey's really easy to deal with. And so we'll share some audio from that of our conversation. Trey was made available to us after the camp. So we'll do that in the second hour as well. Jay Walker talking Cajuns. We got a lot coming up, so stay tuned. For now, though, we recap hour 1 and set you up for the second hour after the break.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Hello, Acadiana. Cajun Carts is your #1 full-service dealer for new, used, and custom golf carts. Perfect for on the job site, the neighborhood, or even out on the green. We are the only authorized dealer of American-made E-Z-GO and Club Car here in Acadiana. For all your service, sales, and mechanical repairs, we got you. So don't wait. Roll on over to CajunCarts.com or stop by our Lafayette location by the Jockey Lot and see why we've been Louisiana's golf cart headquarters since 2003. Cajun Carts. Why walk when you can ride?
Are your pipes giving you problems? Is that leaky faucet driving you crazy? Don't wait for a plumbing disaster. Call the experts at Ace Plumbing, your trusted local plumbers for over 30 years. At Ace Plumbing, we do it all. Clogged drains, water heater repairs, pipe replacements, and more. With decades of experience, we deliver fast, reliable, and affordable solutions for your home or business.
Ace Plumbing fixed my burst pipe in no time, and the price was great. They're the only plumbers I trust.
From small leaks to big emergencies, Ace Plumbing is just one call away. We're available 24/7 because plumbing problems don't wait. Call Ace Plumbing today at 337-565-2519 or visit us online at aceplumbinginc.com. That's 337-565-2519.
Ace Plumbing, your personal plumber. Let us give you a hand.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard, aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Do yourself a favor and download the free ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, powered by Moss Motors BMW for your Android or Apple devices. Download the app by searching ESPN 103.7 Lafayette or ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. It's just that easy to take Southwest Louisiana's sports station with you wherever you go.
All right, back here on the LohDown as we close out hour number 1. Did want to introduce you formally to the poll question of the day, although we have kind of been discussing this already. We asked you on Facebook and on X, will the Spurs win Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight? 25% of you saying yes, 75% saying no. I am saying yes. I am going to be stubborn on this one. I am going to pick the Spurs to win this game, and to be honest with you, even if the Spurs lose tonight, I'll probably pick them in Game 4 as well. Now, after that, Game 5, I don't know. We'll see if we get there. But I just still think there's a really, really good chance that San Antonio shows the desperation they need tonight. But, look, maybe that's not going to be the case. It's clearly I've been wrong before, so I could be wrong again. But I just have a hard time imagining that this series doesn't have some sort of swing in momentum. And Game 1 or Game 3, the first game in New York, is got to be as good an opportunity as any for the Spurs to pull it off. By the way, there is one more thing that I did not tease yet that we've got to talk about at some point in the second hour, and luckily enough, I think we're going to have some time to do so. The story of the day in a lot of regards in college athletics is Brendan Sorsby. If you missed this, he's been ruled eligible to play. And look, if you're not caught up on the story, Sorsby's the guy. He was at Cincinnati last year. LSU wanted him bad in the portal, as did Texas Tech. Texas Tech won that battle, got him in. LSU, of course, then pivots and gets Levitt. But then after that, Sorsby, then they find out he's got these betting issues. He was betting on games all throughout his career. Apparently, he even bet a few times on his own team in games that he was active in. I don't think he was playing, but he was on the roster at Indiana. And so I think everybody who has their heads screwed on straight was like, yeah, there's no way he's going to play college football again, like especially not this year. There's just no way. And he was ruled ineligible a couple different times, and then all of a sudden you ask for these injunctions and you go to a different judge, and somehow he's ruled eligible. And I'll say this, the backlash from it, it's one of those things, right? I joke about it. There's not a whole lot that the sports community is aligned on. I think for the most part, people in sport, it's why I have a radio show. It's why, because we need different opinions, because nobody agrees on stuff. And that's a good thing. It's healthy. It's fun. When you get everybody to agree on something, it's got to be pretty egregious, right? And I think the universal reaction to this story has been, what the bleep is going on right now? And so I will expand on that. I've seen some stuff. Ross Dellinger just put out a piece about it. It's not just like you and I also that are kind of dumbfounded by this ruling and this whole situation. People that matter, people that would be playing against him, coaches, administrator, there is uproar about Brendan Sorsby being ruled eligible with supposedly like this joke of a slap on the wrist, 2-game suspension that they suggested. They're like, hey, yeah, we think he should not play in the first 2 games. And they play a lower level opponent, and I think they play Oregon State on the road in the second game. It's crazy. And so we'll talk more about that towards the back half of the second hour. For now, though, we will take a break. We will reset some things. We'll start hour number 2. We might actually do some of the Sorsby conversation right off the bat. I think it's time pressing. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do it right off the bat. We'll start hour number 2 with that. We've got Jay Walker at 2:15. Stay tuned. More of the LohDown to come.
This is your Chiropractic Expert Minute, brought to you by Dr. Quentin Briscoe, chiropractic physician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Quentin Briscoe. Veterans, are you struggling with chronic back pain, neck issues, or reduced mobility? You're not alone, and you have options. Chiropractic care is part of your VA health benefits, and at Briscoe Chiropractic, we specialize in non-surgical, drug-free solutions to help manage your pain and improve your well-being. We are proud to work with the VA Community Care Network. Let us help you regain your mobility and enjoy the active life you deserve. In addition to the VA Community Care Network, we are also in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aetna. We accept motor vehicle accidents and workman's comp cases.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091, because your spine deserves expert care.
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking, so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit duplessisbuilders.net.
When strength matters, go to ap-fabrication.com. Built with precision, heavy-duty structural aluminum welding using TIG, MIG, and stick to custom metal fabrication designed exactly for your project. Need safety inspections, weld analysis, or 24-hour emergency metal repairs to keep your operation moving? Trust A&P. For quality craftsmanship, visit ap-fabrication.com. That's ap-fabrication.com. You can trust A&P Fabrication and Construction. Built strong, built right.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
I'm Nick DeLuca, counting down to Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. Series heading back to MSG. New York looking to push their postseason winning streak to 14 and take a 3-0 series lead. The Spurs trying to bounce back on the road. ESPN's Vince Goodwill watching how aggressive Victor Wembanyama will be tonight.
Victor Wembanyama, he has to be impactful to start the game. He has to put his stamp on the game on both ends of the floor. Like in Oklahoma City, the games that he got off to great starts were the games that they won, were the games that they followed his lead. He can't wait on Steph Castle or De'Aaron Fox as the vet or anybody else to set the tone. He has to be forceful tonight. And if that means getting Karl Towns in foul trouble, so be it.
Goodwill on Get Up. Elsewhere, Texas Tech star Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA, preventing a punishment for violating its rules on sports gambling, clearing the way for him to play for the Red Raiders in 2026. In the NFL, Cardinals quarterback Jacoby Brissett reporting for Arizona's mandatory minicamp this week.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Tuesday, friend of the show, Adam Schefter joins us at 8 a.m. Eastern to look ahead to mandatory mini camps throughout the league. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is hour number 2 of 2, the LohDown, here on a Monday edition of the show. ESPN 1037 in Lafayette, 1041 in Lake Charles. Anywhere you are, the ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, and the most recent way to stay connected with us and watch and listen to our show live every day is the ESPN_SWLA YouTube channel. We are streaming live on YouTube every single day. A lot to get to here. What turned into a very busy Monday. There was a lot to talk about with the finals and the College World Series stuff going on, but then this Brendan Sorsby story drops. It makes things really, really interesting on a Monday in June. So we're going to start the second hour there in just a minute. Keep in mind, Jay Walker's going to join us in about 15 minutes. I want to do a Cajuns year in review, kind of look back at the entire sports season now that we are done with the academic calendar, obviously, right? And when we get to football in the fall, that will be the start of a new academic season and effectively a new season of Cajuns athletics. We'll talk to him about that in addition to some really exciting stuff that happened since the last time we talked to him a week ago, with all the freshmen running it back with Cajuns baseball and things of that nature. Also, later in the hour, I attended the Trey Harris camp. He hosted a skills camp for youth athletes in the Lafayette area at Como High on Saturday. He is the, of course, now NFL receiver with the Los Angeles Chargers, who went to Como from the area, still doing really good stuff in the community. It was great to catch up with Trey a little bit. We also were made available. He had a conversation with us about the camp and about some things that he's learned. So we're going to share some Trey Harris audio with you later on in this hour as well. But we start the second hour here in the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette, as I alluded to at the very end of the first hour, and that's with the Brendan Sorsby stuff. So Sorsby is eligible. And I told you about that right at the end of the first hour. But what's really been interesting, it was a local Texas judge that granted this injunction. There was some real conversation, and Ross Dellinger must have had a feeling this was coming out because he dropped this right away. Senior college football reporter for Yahoo Sports. Plenty of you are probably familiar with Ross's work. At the Big 12 administrative meetings recently, there was an actual conversation amongst Big 12 players or Big 12 administrators. If Texas Tech somehow gets Sorsby eligible, should we play them? So you're talking about now potential boycotts of those games or whatever you want to call it. And here's some quotes from this article. Kansas State Athletic Director Gene Taylor told Yahoo Sports, quote, "We've had some serious conversation about it. There's still a lot to be discussed. We aren't scheduled to play them this year, but it's something we have to look at from a college football perspective. This is greater than the Big 12. That Lubbock judge did give Sorsby the injunction today, and that's why this is all coming up again. But these conversations have apparently been had. So the Big 12 members preeminently have thought to themselves, hey, we've seen how some of this crazy stuff gets with these judges and injunctions, things of that nature. If this happens, what's our next move? So the Big 12 has been thinking about this. And I mean, imagine that. Imagine if teams on a football schedule said, we ain't playing them. The Big 12, right, they're the governing body in this, and I imagine they've got to be just rubbing their temples with frustration right now going, what are we going to do if this comes to pass, right? Because they didn't rule Sorsby eligible. This is a judge in Lubbock. This is nothing to, the Big 12 didn't make a big brash slam of the gavel on the counter and say Sorsby can play this year. But they might have to pick up the pieces and try to sort out the mess with their other member institutions that are just not happy with it and have every right to be. Again, Texas Tech is going to be in the minority of this situation. How ironic is that they're becoming the big bad villains, by the way, of sports, it feels like in general, with the softball story that we just talked about with Jerry Glasgow and company, and now this. Now, in this particular instance, I don't think it's on Texas Tech as much. It's on the judge, it's on the ruling, it's on the system, it's on the NCAA not having any power over their sport anymore or their multiple sports. It's just crazy. Like you've had a lot of, Gene Taylor apparently on Monday came back and said, quote, it's bleeping bleep. I know the kid has a problem. Well, get well and focus on your problem. It is absolutely devastating for him to be able to play when every other sport, no matter the level, deems an athlete ineligible or they are punished severely for betting on their team. Other high-level administrators have called it, quote, disastrous and, quote, jarring, quote, corrupting the integrity of sports. Josh Brooks at Georgia said, quote, I think there needs to be serious conversations about not playing Texas Tech in any sports. He is a member of the NCAA Football Oversight Committee. This could get really, really interesting if others are finally going to take a stand on this stuff, right? And I'm not exactly sure. Tom Mars, who's an attorney who's won several cases against the NCAA, quote, at first I thought it was a joke. So, as I said, this is not you and I being surprised at a ruling. This is the sports world as a whole being stunned by this. And, I saw a quote, too, from the judge that, or basically the ruling was that Sorsby would suffer irreparable damage, irreparable injury, so to speak, if they didn't allow him to play. And I guess that's about the money he was going to earn and the things. Man, at what point do you sacrifice the right to play that when you do stuff that is not only illegal on a local level, but is illegal on a national level, is illegal on, if you did that in the NFL? I mean, look at the bans that Calvin Ridley faced. Look at the bans that you go to the NBA and all the. This is something that is punishable and is punished in every single realm, right? I don't want to compare it to like the stock market, insider trading, stuff like that, because I don't know how legally it all computes. But the point is, it is wrong. He knew it was wrong. He's admitted that he knew it was wrong. You just don't get to have no consequences and go, oops, he made a mistake. Like that's not how this works, man. That's not how this is supposed to work, I guess I should say. Because right now, who's to say how it works? There are no rules. It's anarchy. The joke's been out there that LSU should call Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase to play one week and go, well, we got an injunction. There was some judge in Saskatchewan that was on our side, so they get to play now. Oops. It was their bye week, so they came and hung out and threw a few touchdowns for us, and we beat Alabama. What are you going to do about it? Like, we have made a lot of jokes. We've covered it extensively. The laughable decisions, the laughable lack of power the NCAA has seemingly had in the last few years, all the stuff, the slaps on the wrist, right? I think the South Carolina one came back up that they at one point, this is a true story, South Carolina at one point got a minor infraction notice from the NCAA because they made a cake for a recruit that had impermissible icing on it. That's a true story. And now, we've gotten past all that stuff, right? We go, hey, yeah, the recruits are getting paid now. That's how it should have been for a long time. You know, you giving guy, that's all cool. We're all past that. As I've continued to say, and I think a lot of people have continued to say, there's still... You push the envelope. You push and you push and you push and you push, right? Well, I got away with this. What if I get away with this now? You know? Well, I got one thing. All right, I'm able to... It's like when you're a kid and you're trying to push the limits of your bedtime. And your parents say, you got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. And one night, you push it till 9:15, and they don't notice. And you go, all right, cool. And then the next night, maybe you try and put 9:20. And then all of a sudden, maybe there's a little pushback. Your parents go, hey, son, you're going to bed too late. You got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Well, but I've been going to bed at 9:15. They go, all right, you know what? Fine. 9:15's fine. And then you're like, well, maybe 9:30. And then the next week, you go 9:45 and 10 o'clock. And at some point, you're going to hit a point where your parents, if they're, doing their jobs correctly, are going to go, all right, you know what? Enough is enough. You've gone too far. It was 9 o'clock, then it was 9:15, then it was 9:30. Now it's 10 o'clock. We got to go. We got to put some rules in place here, right? You got to go to bed by this time. That's where we're at in college athletics. The bedtime has been pushed past 2 o'clock in the morning. There's 10-year-olds that are up at 3:30 drinking Mountain Dew playing video games. We've got to put some sort of rules in place that brings us back to a point of respectability, common sense, right? And Brendan Sorsby being ruled eligible today has just gone way past what this was ever. And this isn't even connected to the NIL stuff, right? I mean, it's its own conversation, but it's been all a snowballing effect of the NCAA losing all its power. I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of it, and I don't know what comes of it. The Ross Dellinger piece that I just quoted a bunch from is very interesting, of at least other adults in the room sitting there and going, hey, this is crazy, right? But to an extent, right, that's kind of like the kid who's gotten his bedtime pushed way back. Well, now his friends' parents are like, hey, guys, are y'all sure he should be staying up that late every night? The parents are like, we got this. Don't worry about it. That's Texas Tech and the judge. They're like, hey, we got our stuff figured out. Sorsby can play. Y'all worry about your team. And the friends' parents, a.k.a. the Big 12 and Georgia and the other teams that might be playing them at some point are like, well, wait a minute. No, we're pretty invested in this situation ourselves, right? We need to get this under control. So that's my stretch of an analogy for the day. But I don't know where else to go with this thing. Brendan Sorsby somehow eligible and is going to play college football as soon as week 3 of this college football season, despite the fact that he placed however many thousands and thousands of dollars in bets across the course of his career, including at times bets on his own football team that he was on the roster of and was active, was dressed and active to play in those games. Pete Rose got banned for, how bad was Pete Rose's punishment for this stuff? It's crazy. All right, anyway, we'll go ahead. We'll take a break from that. We will, as I said before, do a little something different. I want to get Jay Walker on one last time before we take a little bit of a summer break with him, talk season in review, Cajuns athletics. We'll do kind of an open discussion there on how things have gone, where they're headed. We'll do that after the timeout. This is The LohDown. It is ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station. Stay tuned.
This is The LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Here at ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, we know you can't get enough sports in your life. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. Turn the bell on so you get notifications whenever we post new content, like our podcast. I will have a new episode, by the way, 4-Tire Change, coming back for the first time in a little bit. That'll be up this week. Our LAB award-winning shorts, like Foot's Friday Fury. And now, of course, every single day you can stream all of our local shows on our YouTube channel. So go ahead, subscribe to ESPN_SWLA on YouTube today.
BB's Auto Sales has been serving Acadiana since 1966. Cleanest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Need financing? No problem. BB's offers easy financing for all credit types, including in-house financing. Plus, they're paying top dollar for your trade. Voted top 3 dealership in Community Choice Awards 2 years in a row. Visit BB's Auto Sales, 2 convenient locations off Johnston Street and in Abbeville. bbsautosales.com. Cleanest cars in Acadiana.
Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Ford Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. He's supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you. But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-245-0471. 800-245-0471. 800-245-0471. Call right now. That number again is 800-245-0471.
Can't get enough discussion about the college programs you know and love? Not to worry. Dawson has you covered coming up right here on the LohDown with D-Loh.
The LohDown continues here on a Monday inside the Beal and Aber studios in Upper Lafayette. Our one and only guest here on today's show is our friend Jay Walker. One last time here before we give a little bit of a summer break and rejoin Jay, probably around Sunbelt Media Days time. But first off, Jay, thank you for being here as always.
Well, wait, I can't come back after this week?
You can come on as much as you want. I just was going to give you some time off for vacation, but you know, if you want to come on the show, then we'll do it still.
I'll come on anytime because you should know by now I have an opinion about everything.
I'm glad you said that because I want to ask you about something then that isn't Cajuns related. Brendan Sorsby's eligible, I guess, now, and we're doing this. Really interesting stuff. I just talked about it in the last segment. Ross Dellinger has a report out that the Big 12, some teams in the Big 12, some administrators are talking about not being willing to play them because of this result. It's just crazy to think, but this is, if you don't like what happens in college athletics, all of a sudden you just find a judge that sees it the way you do, and you get what you want. What did you make of just this mess that happened today?
Well, you know, college athletics has been a mess for a few years now. When NIL and the portal, you know, ran amok, and what it was designed to be is now like 150 million times worse. And now that this has come down today, the courts have said you don't have to have character. You can go ahead and try to manipulate the outcome of a contest and we will not hold you accountable for that. You know, Pete Rose is probably never going to get in the Hall of Fame, or at least he's not going to get in my lifetime, and he didn't get in his own. And with the way the Hall of Fame is set up with the committees now, I don't think it's going to happen in your lifetime either. Here's a guy who did the same thing, and the court said, yeah, okay, pass, go ahead. This is a mess, and, you know, we're, as a society, so lawsuit happy that if things don't go our way, we'll just sue somebody until we get the outcome that we want. Welcome to college athletics. It's not a pretty sight.
And it's so insane, right? Because I do look, there's also a separate conversation to be had about what our court system is for. And I get that their appeals have to exist because sometimes people do get an unfair trial thing. Like, yeah, I took U.S. government. I get it. But this idea and this notion right now where it's like, and we're also picking judges and they're going to places they want. And like, I'm not saying they're manipulating the outcomes of it, but we can all look up and go, oh, it's a judge in Lubbock, Texas. Like, I mean, that's just not a fair thing to decide, something that impacts something far bigger than just Texas Tech. And it also goes back to the lack of power the NCAA now has. I just can't believe that we're at this point where, like, yeah, paying players, all those things, we can kind of come to an agreement on a lot of that stuff. But at least with those things, most of the time it's split, right? Some people feel one way, some people feel the other. I think you've got 90-something% of the public going, this is ridiculous. How is the kid eligible? And yet it doesn't matter.
Well, you know, I think the legal system, the justice system, has been screwed up for about at least a decade now, where, you know, if I don't like something, I'm going to go to court and I'm going to find somebody who's sympathetic to me and I'm going to get them to issue a ruling in my favor. And in many, many cases, in fact, in most cases now, it has everything to do with politics. But it, you know, we're just, look, this ruling has to do with the integrity of sports itself. And what the court said today is you don't have to have any.
You are right. And we will see if anything else comes of it. It was interesting seeing how strong the statements were from some Big 12 members, but I don't know if they're going to put their actions where their mouth is right now, and maybe that could end up being the next chapter in this development. All right. The actual reason that we brought you on, Jay, is I wanted to do a little bit of a year in review on Cajuns athletics. Obviously, it was an up and down season as a whole, you know, across, you talk about football, obviously basketball was very down by their standards on both the men's and the women's side. Baseball and softball certainly better than that, but like, it's just so funny how this stuff ebbs and flows, Jay. Like, there was conversation after basketball season, one of the more disappointing calendar years in Cajuns athletics history, and then yet baseball at the end of it, and maybe it's just a what have you done for me lately thing. But now all the conversation is kind of this positivity and this excitement about next season, and a lot of that has to do with all the players who decided to come back. It's just so funny how thoughts can change so quickly.
Well, that's very, very true. Now, if you look at it from a calendar year standpoint, you know, last year the high watermark from a calendar year standpoint was probably the football team going 6-6 during the regular season. Because not much else went right. Now, you know, you can look at, you know, things like cross country and track and field and golf, which had its high points. But when we start talking about the year in athletics, we're usually talking about the big five sports. And, you know, men's basketball had a tough year last year because we're talking about the calendar year a year ago. And, you know, baseball had a losing season and softball was about 500 and women's basketball. Well, you know, all it takes, though, and it's one of the great things about sports, I think, is all it takes is for one sport to step forward and go, okay. And then now your fan base all of a sudden feels a whole lot better. And I think that's what's happening right here. Now, when you look at it from an athletic year, not a calendar year, you know, football went 6-6. And I'm just here to tell you, anytime there's a 13th game, I'm going to say, hey, that's a good year. Now, does that mean that that's my standard for the program? Absolutely not. But they at least met the minimum for me, which was to play a 13th game. Men's basketball did not have a good year. They also had an unreasonable amount of injuries, which hurt at critical positions. Women's basketball was in a situation where because of all the financial issues and everything else going around, Gary had no players. He also had no coaches. And so he had to try to put that together as best he could. Now, I think that's not going to happen this year. And so I think we're going to look at this a little bit more closely than maybe we did. I think softball took a step forward, but Allison has said so herself. This is not the standard that we are used to, and it's a standard that's not acceptable. And so, they're going to continue to work on that. Now, they have obstacles in their way that softball's never had before. And so, I think you have to kind of take everything with a grain of salt with that. And then here's baseball. And baseball, they got off to a good start, and then they lost, 11 out of 15 or whatever it was, and there were rumblings, and folks on social media were not happy, and some of them were getting downright mean. And then, the team righted the ship. They wind up in a regional final, and now it's, okay, we're going to Omaha next year. Well, pump the brakes a little bit. But they had a solid year after an off year the year before, and the foundation is there for them to have more success in 2027. And so I think because of what baseball accomplished this year, folks are starting to feel better about Cajun athletics than they have in maybe the last year and a half. And it was all because of a period of about, 15, 20 games in the second half of the season. That is kind of prompted that. So, sometimes it doesn't take much success for people to get optimistic. And I think baseball has done that, and I hope that carries over into the fall, and that fans go into that thinking positively. It's the season is never what you want it to be. Okay, if you go 6-6 in football, well, doggone it, you wanted to go 8-4. You wanted to play for a conference championship. That men's and women's basketball. You want to break 500 and maybe get deep into the conference tournament, and sometimes you win it. And, softball, the standard is to get into postseason play, and that's the standard for baseball also. And those standards aren't going to change. Hopefully the results will be a little bit better. But, this university is always going to have obstacles in its way, and most of it has to do with finances. And fans don't want to hear about it. They just, they just want your team to win. And, I think we all have to take a deep breath and take a look and say, you know what, the playing field's not level. And the one place where you can overcome the unlevel playing field, I think, is in spring sports. And because it happens last, I think folks now go into the off season saying, you know what, we can be good in everything. Maybe we can. I certainly hope that's the case.
It's well said, and I liked a lot of what you commented on there. And the one thing that I go back to, Jay, like I remember, and look, I've had, people reach out to me about it and say, like, I'm having a hard time being the same level of fan I was because it just doesn't feel the same, and it feels like anytime you get a good player in, it's a farm system and all that stuff. And I'll be lying if I didn't say I kind of had some of those thoughts too, like, man, is this a program that's ever going to be able to have and retain great players anymore? If they have one great season, is it just going to be, oh, you better enjoy the 1 year they're here? And it's not like all this changed overnight, but I guess just a bunch of really promising freshmen, all, at least for now, and it's still not finalized, but saying, hey, we're going to do this again. We're not going anywhere. It was a nice reminder that it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Not every good player that walks through the doors is going to walk out the next year trying to find a paycheck. And I guess that was a little reassuring as well to see the way that this baseball team kind of all dug in and said, no, we're coming back next year?
Well, I've said this in the past about Cajun football. Because the Cajuns, they signed 5 players in the portal. Everybody else is signing 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 players. And that the philosophy with athletics here has to be, we're going to go ahead and bring in talent. We're going to develop it. And then we're going to love them so much that hopefully they don't want to leave. Now, the last part of that was very important when it came to baseball, because you had a chemistry, and it's one of the reasons why I loved covering baseball the way I did this year, is you had a chemistry on that team where you had guys that loved their coaching staff, they loved being coached, they loved each other, and they were young enough to say, hey, you know what? Let's do this again. Now, is that going to be the same thing at the end of next year? I don't know. Frankly, I'm a little bit surprised, and I said this last week, that if the Cajuns came out unscathed with the portal, that I would be shocked. Well, color me shocked, because there are a couple of guys who have entered the portal that you kind of wish you still had, and at the same time, you had 7 starters that were eligible to come back, and guess what? Right now, all 7 of them are coming back, and I'll be honest, I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but I think it lends credence to what the philosophy is over here. We're going to bring in talent, we're going to develop it, and we're going to love them so much, and we're going to have a culture, and they're not going to want to leave the place. Now, somebody may throw enough money at them to where they feel like they got to go. But I think the culture here, and we use that word a lot, Dawson, but I think the culture here gives this athletic program a little bit of a leg up on some other programs, just because of the fact that the developing of teamwork, the developing of chemistry, the developing of being a good teammate, all of those things, I think, have paid dividends to your athletic program. And I think the exclamation point has come with baseball this year.
I am with you. And yes, like same with me. Even, the Mandinos of the world, where you go, man, love to have him back, but also he's got a year left and he probably wants to have a chance to play every day. And that was going to be an uphill battle. And you can understand that. There was no like, oh, that guy only left because he wanted to get paid, or that guy only left because he didn't want to be here. You didn't really get any of that from the stories that we heard. Okay, before I let you go, Jay, I want to at least get your thoughts on this Troy team, because I mean, look, they defied the odds. It's the first 30-loss team to make it there. They went through Gainesville. They didn't, it's not like a Cal Poly who avoids the host. They went through Florida twice. They beat them both times. They get to host a Super. We had Barry McKnight on the show last week. It was great to get his thoughts on it all, and now they're headed to Omaha. What do you make of this storyline that obviously, you saw this team play. We saw them play a couple times at their place and then in the tournament again, and here they are going to the College World Series.
It's been a really good year to be Barry McKnight, okay? Because his football team played for a conference championship. His basketball team won a conference championship, played in the NCAA tournament, and his baseball team's going to Omaha. In addition to probably being the best looking of all the sportscasters, he's also had the best year. So we're all going to be jealous of Mr. GQ over at Troy, who's just a wonderful human being, by the way. All I know is for the second year in a row, the Sun Belt has a team in Omaha. And I don't think that means that every school in the league fan base should start getting mad because it's not them. I do think, though, that it shows that, especially in spring sports, it can happen. Now, there are people who say, don't call the Sun Belt a mid-major conference. Well, no, absolutely. Please call the Sun Belt a mid-major conference. Because if you're going to call them a major conference, then you're insinuating that they do business the same way that the power schools do, and that they have the same resources, and that they have the same. No, you're a mid-major conference because of your finances, not because you have 5 teams in the NCAA tournament, not because you had a team go to Omaha 2 years ago. You're a mid-major because of your pocketbook. And so please embrace, yes, we're a mid-major, but guess what? We got the most out of everything we had, which I'll tell you what is probably better than those other 7 teams that are going to be in the World Series. Troy got more bang for their buck than Texas got for theirs. Now, Texas may win the national championship. But no, please stop saying, we're not a mid-major cut. No, we absolutely are. And we ought to be proud of that because it means that this league accomplished more with less. And I think that makes the pride situation get even bigger. You know, you got a whole lot more money than I do. So what? I'm going to beat you anyway. And, you know, Coastal Carolina did that last year. Troy has done it this year. Who's going to be next? Will it be the Cajuns? Will Southern Miss get over the disappointment of hosting a regional and going 2-out? Are we going to have – is Louisiana Tech going to come into the league and start competing for a baseball championship right away and maybe make some noise in the postseason? All of that's great. Look, am I jealous of Troy? Yeah, a little bit. I ain't going to lie, a little bit. But golly, what a story they became because, you know, you got a ballpark that seats 2,000. You had 7,100 over there. And most of them couldn't watch the game except on a big screen, but they were there and they were part of it and they've become a story. Well, that story is good for this league. And I think what it's going to do is going to make some of these guys that are in the portal that you're recruiting say, hey, you know what? I can go over there and win. And I can have a good time doing it because I just saw teams celebrate and look what they were able to do instead of just walking off and say, well, we expected to be there. So I think it's great that Troy is there. I hope they make some noise while they're there. I think they're one of the more unlikely stories of college baseball, you know, maybe in the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, Murray State was a great story a year ago, but Murray State wasn't in the tournament this year. And God bless them, but when they got to Omaha, they didn't compete very well. I think Troy's going to compete because Troy can swing the bat, and they pitch well enough. They play solid defense. They've got a culture where they believe in each other, kind of like the Cajuns. So, you know, I'm good. I'm glad the Sun Belt, because, you know, what it would say, when it happens once, it's a fluke. When it happens twice, it's a trend. Well, the trend is Sun Belt teams can get to Omaha. I think it's great.
It's well said, Jay. Appreciate your time as always. And yeah, maybe we will just keep. I mean, I enjoy conversations like these, so we'll keep them rolling. We won't cancel your 2:15 slot the next few weeks.
I feel better now because I was starting to feel discriminated against. But
enjoy your week, sir.
All right.
S.J. Walker, the voice of the Cajuns, joining us with thoughts on not only the Cajuns, but some other stories within college athletics as well. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we return, as I mentioned, I got a chance to go over to Trey Harris's camp this weekend, catch up with him a little bit, got some audio clips from him after the fact, so we'll talk about that after the break. Slow down.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros took 2 out of 3 from the Athletics at home this past weekend, including a 13-2 win on Saturday to improve their record to 30-37. Next up is a road series against the Angels. Game 1 is tonight, and first pitch from Angel Stadium is scheduled for 8:38, and you can listen to the action on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. In the NBA playoffs, the New York Knicks took a 2-0 lead in the finals with a 105-104 win over the San Antonio Spurs. Now, the series moves to New York with Game 3 being tonight. Tip-off from Madison Square Garden is set for 7:30. LSU's Michaela Williams and Mylasia Fuwiley helped Team USA win gold in the 2026 FIBA 3v3 Half-Court Women's Basketball World Cup. Williams also took home MVP in the tournament. LSU football also landed a 5-star edge rusher in KJ Green, who is the number 8 overall player in the 2027 class. Super Regional Weekend will continue tonight. West Virginia, Troy, UNC, Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia all moved on this weekend. We're still awaiting a winner in the Lawrence and Tuscaloosa Super Regional. And on the PGA Tour, JT Paulson got past Ryan Gerard in a playoff to win the Memorial Tournament in Dublin, Ohio. I'm James Mesh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
It's 9 a.m. You just received a voicemail from your boss.
Hey, Janet. Heads up. We got an important meeting coming up Thursday. The big guys are coming into town, so I need you in charge of lunch, and we've got to look good.
Luckily for Janet, she knows a place, and she knows her boss will be impressed.
Honey Baked Ham can cater your next event. Delicious and freshly sliced deli trays, box lunches with sandwich, chips, and dessert. Or try our fresh salad boxes, and the perfect touch with a meat and cheese tray. Honey Baked Ham Company.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Do you know a veteran in need? Nation's Finest, through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, helps veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada, helping thousands of veterans every year. Visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
You're listening to the 2026 LAB Award winner for Radio Young Professional of the Year, Dawson Iserloh, the host of the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, the LohDown continues on. I got the chance on Saturday to do something a little different. I went out to Trey Harris's youth camp. Trey, plenty of you, of course, know, played at Como High, went on to have a great collegiate career, finished it up with the Ole Miss Rebels. I mean, was just outstanding, ends up getting drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers, and last year had a really nice rookie season. You know, I mean, look, I thought there was moments where it looked like maybe he was about to break out and have a massive season. All in all, he was a really, I think, good player on a good team. He's got a great quarterback in Justin Herbert to work with. There's clearly some opportunities in that offense, I think, for him to maybe continue to grow. And you look at the end of the season and you go, hey, for a rookie who was a second-round draft pick, he caught 30 balls, 324 yards and a touchdown. He played in all 17 games, started 10 of them. A really, really nice foundation for what we hope is going to be a really fruitful NFL career. I've dealt with Trey like a handful of times, and you wonder too, like when a guy comes back to to his hometown, and now he's had a bunch of success and he's made himself a lot of money. Like, is there going to be a little bit of a different feeling about him? Is it going to feel like he's just there to check a box? I didn't get that vibe at all. I think Trey's awesome. He's really, really good to deal with. He seems super genuine in all his efforts, and it was cool to get a chance to watch him interact. There was a great turnout, a lot of kids from the area that showed up. They're, of course, having a ball. I mean, I remember doing some of those camps. For me, it was usually baseball-related camps in the summers, but I mean, what's better than that, right? Getting out there, running around. We got a chance, as I mentioned. He talked to us afterwards, the media that were in attendance, and I thought gave some really good answers. First off, this was just his thoughts on hosting the camp and getting back into the community this summer.
Feels great. Super excited with the way things turned out, and first and foremost, I want to thank all the parents that were able to get their kids to come out. That's the biggest thing, and I want to thank all the kids. It takes a lot of courage to come out here and do something in the summer when you ain't got no school, you ain't got nothing to do, and you came out here and you competed, and just super excited with the way things came out today.
Additionally, Trey talked about how when he was a kid, he would go to the Kevin Falk camp. I thought this was a really good anecdote for him on how cool it's kind of full circle for him, right? But this was his thoughts on how that was something he would do growing up.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I was younger, I used to go to Kevin Falk camps down in Carencro, so just being able to see kids run around here, kind of just see myself and all of them, to be honest with you, even just growing up, even to the middle school age, just really trying to prove yourself to, your peers. And I'm super glad I was able to come out here and, give these kids that opportunity. And I'm definitely going to be looking forward to the next one.
In addition to that, he also shared a thought that was like, man, and he was asked the question, hey, if some of these guys, what if some of these kids end up having, like, go on to have really good high school, collegiate careers, how cool would that be for them to come back to you one day and say, hey, I was at your camp, and that's something that it seemed like Trey would be really excited if that ever happened, because he went back to Kevin Falk, and, like, those two have talked since then, like, hey, I used to go to your camp all the time. We know, of course, and James Mesh has told you about it, Como High is set to close as of now, and there's been a lot of stuff going on around it. And Trey clearly has a strong opinion on this, being how much that school means to him. I thought it was really cool that he was asked this question, and I really enjoyed his answer on, the idea of Como potentially closing.
It's kind of heart-wrenching, to be honest with you. It's a lot of history, especially for my family. My dad, he came to the school. My two older sisters came to the school, and all my friends that I'm still friends with to this day came to the school, and there's so many people here that represent the school, and I know that they all have the same mind, and they want the school to continue living. And not only that, I feel like if this school continues to live on, it's a lot of people and it's a lot of things that this school is able to provide for people. The school is not a bad school. The school is able to have a really high grade, and there's things that this school can still provide for people. And I just don't want anybody to down talk the school, and I really just hope the school stays open.
In addition, we talk about NFL players and, the idea too. And look, sometimes we know this is well documented. I'm not saying it is the case in this case, because I think it's quite the opposite. But there's times where players get to the NFL and the people around them kind of become a drain, right? They're all trying to grab some of the success. They're all trying to get what they can out of the relationship. It really, I think it always is helpful when somebody like Trey makes it to the big time, but they've got really good people around them that care about them first and then the success later. It sounds like that's what Trey has. He talked about his family and his support system, not only helping him put on the camp, but just helping him through what's been so far a really successful career.
It really it gives me a lot of gratitude, and all I can really do is be thankful for it and thank God for it, because I wouldn't be here without my support system, you know, talking about my sisters, my dad, and not even just my immediate family. It's the family who I call my friends. And, you know, those people, my neighbors, everybody that's here, that came out here, that set up tents, set up ACs, did registration for me. Those people mean so much to me. And I know they have kids themselves that look up to me, and I'm super excited to be able to come out here, give back to them, and really just be personable with their kids and show them that I'm a regular person and it just takes hard work to just get to where you're at, and just really show them that this is where it all starts, right here whenever you're young and whenever you're just grinding for whatever you want.
That is Trey Harris. It was great to get a chance to go out there, see him at his camp. The kids seem to really, really enjoy it. Doing good stuff in the community. You always love to see it. And look, he's a guy we're rooting for. I think he's got a chance to have a big second year. Maybe an uptick in usage with the Chargers, right? We'll see. They got a lot of exciting playmakers. They've added some talent to that team, but we'll see what Trey's able to do in year 2 and beyond with the Chargers in the National Football League. All right, we've got one last segment. We'll do Monday Movers. We'll probably have to do it pretty quick. We'll do an abbreviated version of it, and we will set you up for AFR. It's a Monday edition of the Lowdown. Stay tuned.
This is the Lowdown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley bring you this hurricane safety tip. Make sure to secure your homes and bring in outdoor items. Have an emergency kit with water, food, and medications ready to go. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Stay informed with a battery-powered radio, and remember, safety is in your hands. It is a reminder, hurricane season officially. So far, hoping, obviously, as always, that all the big storms stay clear of our path. But keep in mind that it is that time of the year. Your hurricane preparedness tips are powered by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley, your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com.
ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for the Houston Astros.
And the Astros stun the Mariners.
Hunter Brown, Yordan Alvarez, and the rest of the Astros are looking to get back to the postseason. You can listen to every pitch, hit, and thrilling victory of the Houston Astros.
Incredible!
As Robert Ford and Steve Sparks will be on the call. Tune in this season for live Astros baseball on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Misfits Dine and Drink, a destination restaurant in Broussard, is constantly evolving. Dine in for great food in a great atmosphere. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or brunch on Saturday or Sunday, stop in to enjoy a handmade gourmet pizza or one of their delicious pastas. Take a sip of their new and seasonal craft cocktails and mocktails. And don't forget dessert. Try the birthday cake bread pudding. Whether it's new menu items or old favorites, come to Misfits for a great food experience. It's classic Italian with a modern twist. Misfits Dine and Drink, 200 Heritage Parkway off Highway 90 in Broussard.
Imagine building your dream backyard pool without ever leaving your couch. With Duplessis Builders, you can go shop our in-ground gunite pool packages online, start to finish. Browse our pool designs, compare features, see exactly what's included, and choose the package that fits your style and budget. Once you purchase, our team takes over. From permit and excavation to gunite decking and final startup, you click, we build, you swim. Your backyard upgrade is just a few clicks away. Visit duplessisbuilders.net and buy your pool online today.
Home electrical safety, up next from Mr. Electric. Because one power strip can clearly handle your TV, your radio, your lamp, your phone charger, your heater, and whatever else you get plugged in there. Of course, that's sarcasm. Do not overload your outlets and never run cords under rugs or furniture. And if an outlet is hot, a breaker keeps tripping, or something smells suspiciously bad, call a licensed electrician. When it comes to electricity, trying to be a hero is a great way to end up in the news for the wrong reason.
If you would like to learn more, visit MrElectric.com.
It's generator season. Here's Sean Doré with Mr. Electric.
Standby generators are automatic. These come on right as your power's off. Right when you lose power, here comes your generator power within less than a minute. And now you're running like normal. And so those generators, they're a little more expensive, but they are very convenient.
Call Mr. Electric today or see us on Facebook.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Monday. Is it really Monday already? Plenty of things in the sports world have been on the move in the past week. Question is, have they been moving up or moving down? D-Loh is here to evaluate. It's time for Monday Movers on the LohDown.
The LohDown wraps up with Monday Movers. First thing that's moving up is the Omaha Field of 8. It's now set. We've added a team to that field since we started the show today. That is right. It is official. The Oklahoma Sooners have gone to Kansas and beaten the Jayhawks, that old Big 8 rivalry that got a chance to be renewed. Wasn't all that competitive either. 13-2, the final in today's resumptive Game 2. So the field, West Virginia, Troy, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, and Georgia. That is right, 5 SEC teams. Ironically enough, 2 former Big 12 members in Oklahoma and Texas. The Big 2 that was added to the SEC most recently. They occupy 2 of those spots. The Big 12 gets a team in West Virginia. The ACC gets 1 in North Carolina. The Sun Belt gets the 1, of course, with the Troy Trojans. Those games begin on Friday. West Virginia and Troy will kick it off for us. North Carolina and Ole Miss will have the nightcap. Then it's Oklahoma, Bama on Saturday. Texas, Georgia, the nightcap of the round 1 games. What's moving down are the chances the San Antonio Spurs win this NBA Finals. They've got work to do. They're down 2-0. They're on the road in New York tonight. Madison Square Garden takes center stage. We got the Finals logo behind the Knicks logo. Can't wait to see how that looks. Love that they did that once again. Didn't just kind of half-ass it the way they did it last year. Just saying, cough, cough. But we will see if Wembanyama and company get it done. I'm picking them to win the game, but man, it's just been rough going for them so far. Can they find a way to get the tides turned? What's also moving down on this Monday, and we'll close it with this, is the sanctity, perhaps, the logistics or the logical sense, the common sense, the rationalization. All that's on its way down in college sports because Brendan Sorsby got ruled eligible today. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to anyone who I think is thinking critically about this situation. The precedent it sets is downright dangerous for the future of college athletics. And now you have potentially teams willing to say they're not going to play against them. Like an old school Rudy, put the jersey on the table. We're not playing them. It's just complete insanity. And I kind of, tried to do my best to give my thoughts on it earlier. I look forward to potentially having some guests on throughout the rest of this week and maybe into next week to talk about it further and get some other perspectives on it because it's just bonkers and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem good. It doesn't seem right. But it is par for the course these days. If you're an LSU fan and you're looking at this, in addition to, of course, thanking your lucky stars that LSU had to, quote unquote, had to pivot to Sam Leavitt. Boy, do they look like they're going to make out like bandits in that whole transaction. The Lewis kid in basketball has got a great chance to be deemed eligible if this is how these things are going to go. I mean, how are they going to rule him ineligible if they let Sorsby play? Obviously it's not going to be the same judge, so I don't know, man. I don't know where this is headed, but I'm not a huge fan of where it is. We will be back tomorrow, 11, that's the old time slot, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., normal show. We've actually got some exciting things. The mayor's coming on the show tomorrow. We got an event to talk about. We've also got our friend, we'll be talking about the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Greg Burke's going to join us in the second hour tomorrow. So we got some interviews planned. We got some fun stuff. We'll obviously have time to recap all of what happened in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. We'll have a chance to talk about this field in Omaha, things of that nature. So it'll be a fun show. Come hang out with us again tomorrow, same time, same places. Appreciate our friend Jay Walker, the voice of the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. He was our one and only guest here on a Monday, talking Cajun season in review, talking the Sorsby stuff, just talking some current events. Of course, we talked about Troy as well, so appreciate him. Thanks to James Mesh as well and everyone else who helps us put this show on each and every day. That'll do it for us here on the LohDown inside the Beal and Hebert Studios in Lafayette. As I mentioned, we're back tomorrow at the same time in the same places. For now, though, we send it off to Matt Moscona, our friends with AFR here on ESPN Southwest Louisiana.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for